Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, August 27th. President of the Bahamas Doctors Union, Dr. Melisande Bassett, this morning responds to Labor Minister Dion Folk's announcement that he's referred the union's matter to the Industrial Tribunal. This marks day 7 of the union strike action stemming from a decade of outstanding holiday pay.
As many of you know, this has been an arduous process for us. And from the moment that we started, we spoke about following the law and making sure that we were adherent to it. We have done everything that we were required to do. We showed up at meetings when we were asked to. We went to the Industrial Tribunal when we had scheduled meetings. Of course, the Ministry of Health and Department of Health, the minister never showed up. Meetings were canceled. We weren't given due process to actually argue our case. I think that's a slap in the face of all workers everywhere. If you have a complaint, you should be given the opportunity to argue those issues, to discuss those issues, to sensibly reach to a conclusion.
Yet, she says they've been denied the legal right to exercise industrial action.
Now, of course, we have been seeking advice from all across as to what is our next step. And this morning we would have had a meeting on that. And today we want to let you know that this may be a small battle that seemingly they have won, but the war is still being waged, and we will not stop.
She says one thing the minister has failed to realize is the union has 4 other matters they did not attend to at the Industrial Tribunal. These are trade disputes that have already been filed. That said, Dr. Bassett says the union intends to call a strike vote on all of them.
Strike vote on these one-year contracts that you're trying to impose on us illegally? You have no right to do that. Why do you want to relegate us to a 52-weeker? You have no right to do that.
Nobody signed.
We're going to file a trade dispute on your removal of the interns' housing and their housing allowance. We're going to call for strike action on the fact that you refuse to pay at least 15 or 20 of our doctors that work for the Department of Health the raises that they're owed or the allowances that they're owed. And this has been going on for at least 5 years now, and you will not resolve it. We will file for a strike action on those matters. You don't want to talk to us at the table? We will use the legal means that are afforded to us to resolve these matters. The practice of firing people when they complain about you releasing their personal data, that will stop. We will seek for strike action on that. You still have doctors without a job because you fired them when they complained that you all released their personal file to another body, which was illegal. Shame on you.
Union members filled the BCPOU hall and were joined by an overwhelming amount of union heads standing with them in solidarity. Now, when asked if they'll be returning to work, Dr. Bassett at the time told reporters to stand by. President of the Trade Union Congress, Obie Ferguson, was also in attendance at this morning's meeting, speaking on the legal aspect of what transpired and his personal experience dealing with these matters.
Yesterday, I was served with a letter from the Minister of Labor indicating to me that he intends to exercise Section 76 of the Industrial Relations Act to have this matter referred to the tribunal. Subsequent to that, I received a phone call from Dr. Sands indicating to me that they anticipate going to the courts for an injunction. I said to Dr. Sands, in my humble opinion, from my years of experience in this business, it's appropriate that he meet with the union.
You see, based on Mr. Ferguson's experience, he says the Industrial Tribunal has no authority to deal with this matter. He is citing a justice at the Court of Appeal on a similar matter brought before the court.
The judge, in his conclusion, I don't read the whole thing, the judge in his conclusion says this, and I'm so glad we have a room of highly intelligent people. This is what the judge said on paragraph 5. The Industrial Tribunal, which is what the minister told us and told the Bahama public he's gone to, is a creation of statute and therefore has only such coercive powers as the parent statute allows it. Accordingly, when the tribunal is faced with a dance of delay between a union and employer, such as was patently the case here, eminently sensible and logical though the decision of the President was, in seeking to sever the Gordian knot, the tribunal could do no more than request execution of the agreement.
He says despite this ruling from the highest court in the land, Labor Minister Dion Folks still wants to convince some of the doctors and the Bahamian public that he has the power to refer such matters to the Industrial Tribunal. Doctors then took it to the streets, marching down to Rawson Square this afternoon for more protesting. Here's Dr. Bassett with more.
We are serious and committed to having our issues resolved, and we won't be pushed aside because you don't want to sit and talk with us. You then push this matter up to the Industrial Tribunal, which really has no power and can't make any decisions to force or have people give us what is due us. We know there have been case after case that Mr. Ferguson illustrated this morning where the government itself doesn't recognize the rulings of the Industrial Tribunal. So why you want to force us to that body that can't give a ruling that sticks?
She adds that this won't serve any purpose but delay the union further. Now, as for heading back to work, Dr. Bassett says this.
And if you read the law, there is a timeline. In addition to that, there may be new developments that we need to hear and we need to be aware of.
General Secretary of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, Tyrone Rock Morris, also chimed in.
I listened to Peter Turnquist. RC dealt with BPL. He said whatever it takes to get BPL online, they will find the money. But you see, that's a problem with this government. Foreigners, businesses, they will do whatever it takes. They make it possible for them. But when it comes down to the workers, we don't have the money. But I'm saying to Peter Turnquist, whatever it takes, not just for the doctors, whatever it takes,
everybody
find the money. The same way they get prepared to find the money for BPL, tell them Rock Morris say, find the money.
You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.